I think this gentleman asked a very good question. What can we do about it? We make noise in Parliament, we come and preach to the converted. I'm sure all of you here are already Pakatan supporters. It's okay. We coexist peacefully in this country. There's the right to have different support. But what I want to say is that the BN has actually given us a very potent weapon in this budget, and they will continue to give us potent weapons which we can take to the rural areas. This is something that you said they don't feel it. Yes, they can ignore us, but they cannot ignore the rural voters. Let me tell you, the GST will impact the rural voters. There's no doubt about it. It is something, and the category of people that would be most affected are actually the Malays. Many of them in the rural areas, many of them who are single and who cannot have the full extent of the BRIM handouts and whatnot. Right? So this is something that we will take to them and tell them how this is going to impact them. And when they feel it in their pockets, the rural voters, this is how how this will be very important in our game plan towards winning power in Putrajaya in the next general election. And not just GST. The Fiscal Policy Committee that Wong Kian talked about just now is, I think, something which is very one-sided, in the sense that it is trying to come up with ways to reduce the subsidies without trying to come up with similar measures to reduce the wastages. And that is where it helps us. Because when they go through the subsidy rationalization program, including taking away the sugar subsidies, including increasing the price of electricity, which will come, let me tell you that it will come, as part of the whole subsidy rationalization program. In 2-3 years' time, definitely prices of goods will increase. And when this happens, we'll be able to take it to the ground. We are already taking it to the ground slowly but surely, going from the urban areas to the rural areas. And one point of comparison that we will make is use agencies like Pemandu, right? Because when we talk about billions and billions of ringgit, let me tell you, I think even in this crowd, you cannot imagine what a billion ringgit looks like, right? You can imagine a cow living in a condo, but you cannot imagine how much 1 billion ringgit is. Similarly, the folks in the kampong, they don't know what 1 billion ringgit is, not to mention a budget that's 264 billion ringgit. But if you tell them, one worker or one director in Pemandu is getting paid 50,000 ringgit a month. If a director in one of the government agencies or CEO is getting paid 800,000 ringgit a month or 600,000 ringgit a month, 800,000 ringgit a year or 600,000 ringgit a year, you can say that these people can afford the subsidy rationalization. They can afford to pay more for goods and services, right? But this is not you. This is not the kampung folk. Because you will feel it much more than them. Because your salary is nowhere near 50,000. It's nowhere near 10,000. It's nowhere near even 5,000 a month. Right? So this is something that we can have hope in. And this is something that we'll continue to pursue. On Jayana's question about why is it that our budget is not so different from the BN budget. Let me just summarize very shortly. What is implicit within our budget is a lot of the promises that we've made during our manifesto. Right, we put in things in there that are in the manifesto that perhaps we didn't highlight because it was already, has been repeated a lot of times. Right, so things like, for example, the toll, the abolishment of the tolls and the responsible reduction of the PTPTN loans. All these things are already in there, which is why we cannot drastically reduce the operational budget. In our budget, we have a long-term target to shift back our share of the budget from 83-17 in terms of operational versus expenditure to about a 60-40 ratio, which was something that we once had before, so that we can spend more on schools, on hospitals, on the development budget, on things which actually will give us a long-term rate of return. Not the kind of supplies and services going into buying mineral water bottles and expensive binoculars. So that is something that we want to do long term, but for the short term, we cannot just quickly shift over so quickly. It will have to be a gradual process. And ladies and gentlemen, I just want to let you know that the next 5 years is not the 5 years whereby we are just opposing. We are preparing ourselves for government. We are a government in waiting. So all the things that we do, including analyzing policies and proposing alternatives in each and every sector of the government, this is how we prepare ourselves so that when 2018 comes or 2017 comes, when we are able to take this message to the rural areas, to Sabah, to Sarawak, that is when we will be in a much better position to form the next government of Malaysia. Thank you very much.